Parenting with little kids is both a joy and a grind.
Make it less of a grind with these 5 parenting hacks for newcomers to Portland.
Let's go. My name's Aaron Cullen and this is Brianna Cullen. Together, we have a local real estate company right here. Now, if you guys are looking to make a move, go ahead and reach out. Let's get into today's topic. Parenting is a joy, right?
Yes.
Not all the time, and that's okay to admit that. Mostly it is. And here are our 5 tips on how you can enjoy being a parent with your kids right here in Portland.
I feel like this is very city specific because if you live in Phoenix, Arizona, then you need a house with a pool, right? And if you live in Portland, Oregon, how are you gonna get through those long, rainy winters with Tasmanian devil mess-making toddlers?
Yes.
It is a conundrum.
We've been there and gone through it, and that's how we've come up with these 5 tips.
Tip number 1 is inspired by where we are right now today. We are walking through a trail outside of our family athletic club. Tip number 1, find a great family athletic club close to you that has kids clubs, kids camps, date nights, just all around family friendly club.
Now, we discovered this a little late into our Portland adventures, but learned from our mistakes. We joined it last winter over here in Tualatin. This club is awesome. They have these athletic clubs all throughout Portland.
So just a couple of options: the Bay Club, Stafford Hills Tennis Club, Villa Sport. There's a bunch throughout Portland, in the Northwest, in Beaverton, out in the suburbs where we are. The benefit is really about taking advantage of the amenities that whatever club has. Obviously, a lot of these clubs have holiday activities like breakfast with Santa and things like that. So it's kind of a third space for families to gather, but then also childcare, whether you want to be working out or working, like literally on working from the cafe. For us, we're out here filming today while our kids are in kids club because it's summertime. Summer camp calendar is very truncated. Often our kids don't have camp on Fridays. And also, once your kids get into elementary school, you learn that kids are out of school constantly.
Yeah, constantly.
If you're a working parent, having backup childcare or even just being able to send your kids to a kids club for a couple of hours on those days off makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it really does.
In the winter, when it's rainy and you're just looking for how to get out of the house on the weekends in the winter, this just creates a great chunk of time and an outlet for the whole family.
Yeah, and if you find one, with a pool, then you can even get your kids doing swim lessons there, private swim lessons or group swim lessons for the kids. If you end up moving here, this is a place called Emler, and it's about the same price as Emler, but way better experience.
Everyone goes to Emler and it is just like a difficult, trying experience to like get your kids changed into their swimsuits, and it's so like hot and muggy in there versus some other options. Like Aaron said, you can do the full service. You can do your swim lessons there, or if it's a tennis club and your kids take tennis there. Also, often other people from your community will be there. At least 5 of the kids in our daughter's kindergarten class are members at the same club. So a lot of times she'll go to kids club and get to run into her friends, or we go to the pool at night and we'll see another family there. And so it creates a lot of what we've talked about in a bunch of these videos. One of the things we love about Portland and about Lake Oswego is the small town atmosphere and running into people that you know in a variety of places. It just makes it easier to hang out and get to know people.
Yeah, no, it really does. And here we go. We're right here by the river. I don't know if you can see that here. Yeah, here right behind us. And this is like a really cool walk. And that brings us to our next tip, which is local parks. Take advantage of the local parks. If you haven't moved here to Portland, this is something you might not know. Portland has a ton of parks. Just in Portland proper, there are over 300 parks in the city of Portland. And then outside of Portland, every town and suburb has their own parks, and a ton of like local little neighborhood parks. Take advantage of that. Now this is kind of like my personal hack. I like to pick the kids up, whether it's like from school or if they have like an early release, and we'll go discover new parks. And then we'll find something there, say on the playground, that they really like to do, and we'll name it. There's one that's the underground slide park. Another one,
the zip line park.
The zip line park.
The seesaw park.
The seesaw park. definitely take advantage of that. I feel like a lot of people don't realize how many parks, just tons of like little parks, and kids love parks. You can keep them entertained because there's so many different activities.
Aaron discovers so many parks with the kids that he'll have to say, we're going to a new park, which means like not that other new park, a new
That's
park
right.
you've never been to.
One you've never been to. And the kids are all into it and they love it. And that's one of the great things about here is that, you know, there could be so many new parks within 10-15 minute drive for you. And then one of them is going to be, hey, you could take your kids in a kayak or paddle boarding, and you're going to have a lot of easy access to rivers. This is the Tualatin right here, but you can also do the Willamette. And this one's, you know, really mild. If we go walk this way, there's also a little dock right here that you can use, and there's tons of public docks through different parks all throughout.
Parenting hack number 3 follows very closely on the heels of number 2, because if you want to be able to get out and enjoy those parks and get outside at all, you have to invest in gear that enables you to get outside year round. Again, going back to rainy, darker winter weather, no one does good when they're all cooped up constantly. And so we have to be able to get outside on the weekends, even if it's drizzling and a little bit colder. And in order to do that, you need the right gear. Every human being in the Northwest needs rain boots and a great rain jacket with like a big hood. You need to be able to stay completely dry.
But not too heavy because you don't want to get hot.
You need layers and you need great rain gear. We went to Disneyland last year, and of course, the first day that we were there, it was like super rainy. It was like during the atmospheric river of Disneyland. We were waiting in line for one of the rides, and us and one family behind us were like so happy. Everyone walking around Disneyland looked like so droopy and dreary and miserable, but we had our Portland rain gear. Our whole family was like completely outfitted and having a great time. Disneyland is actually amazing when it's raining because there's no crowds and no lines.
Yeah.
But you need the right gear.
Yeah, quick tip. Yeah, bring your rain gear
This is
if
not
you go
about
to Disneyland.
But you do have to be able to get outside, and sometimes in order to entice the kids out for a hike, it's a new park is the bribe, or we're also not above bringing a high quality snack like homemade cookies, something like that to get them through the cold part of a hike.
Speaking of hikes, I'll spin this around, but here's the dock. People that were doing some paddle boarding with their dog right down here at the dock. So you have these kind of experiences that are super easy and accessible here, which is awesome. Hey, they're taking their dogs. Now on to tip number 4.
You want to get on the mailing list for the local parks and rec for Portland or for the town or area that you are in. This is like critical, especially in some of the more family-friendly towns, places that draw families in. The activities that the Parks and Rec put on are really top-notch, and some of them go very quickly in terms of the signups. So first of all, you're not going to be aware of just everything that the city offers, the activities for kids, also the activities for families and adults, things like holiday events and specialty classes, spring break camps, art, sports, language, all of those things. Unless you're on that list, you just won't even know that it exists. So that's number 1. And then number 2 is that some of the signups for these things, like they open at 10 a.m. on a Saturday, and at 10:01, you're 30th on the wait list. So you need to be on the email distribution and mark your calendar for when those open up so that you can get the activities that you want.
Yeah, and if you guys are moving to Lake Oswego, or if you're in Lake Oswego and want to know what list to get on, go ahead and shoot me an email and I'll make sure to get those over to you. Because that's where we live, so we're on all those lists locally. But every town and suburb is gonna have its own parks and rec that you can get on some lists for. The one you've been waiting for, number 5.
Join a local mom's group or dad's group. Find a way to connect with other parents and get yourself out of the house, adult conversation, especially again, I hate to like harp on winter, but everyone needs that spirit boost and a reason to get out of the house in the winter, especially if you work remotely and you're, not like interacting and connecting with other adults regularly. Get into a mom's group. So MOPS, now known as MomCo, is one option, and they have chapters in Wilsonville, Beaverton, Lake Oswego, I'm sure several other parts of Portland. Just a gathering of moms with young kids. There's childcare provided, different types of talks. In Lake Oswego, Erin has a dad's group. So if you're moving to Lake Oswego, reach out to Erin. They get together at least once a month. And then also, other times as a family, neighborhood book clubs, and really depends on what your hobby is, a running club. Just find some sort of gathering for yourself. And the sooner you do it after moving, the better. Because after you've been in a place a while, it's easy to get kind of complacent. When you're new, people welcome you in, you have that new energy. That's really the best time to start to feel it out and like use that energy that you have to connect and get to know your town.
So as you can tell, there's a lot of things for moms to do, but for dads, there's not as many groups. So I actually couldn't even find like a local dads group in Lake Oswego, so I just started my own. And now we have about 200 members and we meet once a month in person. The moms group doesn't even do that. And it's a Facebook group. So if you haven't dove into the Facebook groups, there's actually a ton of different local Facebook groups. There's a group for paddleboarders, there's a group for kayakers, there's a group for runners. And you can find those like in the city of Portland and for the bigger groups. And you can also find different groups like locally to your neighborhood, so you don't have to go very far. So I think that's a great resource, is utilizing those Facebook groups, especially like right when you move here. You don't know a ton of people. It's easier for you to get out and get connected with people. So I think that's one of my biggest tips, is for your own sanity to do a little networking, especially local to your neighborhood, is look up Facebook groups, look up what your interests are, and just start typing in your different interests and join some groups and see if there's different meetups for that.
We had a friend who recently moved from Lake Oswego to Alameda, and he was in Erin's dad's group. And as we were talking to him about the move, he was saying, I think I need to start my own dad's group over in the Northeast.
Oh, yeah.
It's true. I think especially for dads, there's not always that natural gathering, and it's easy to move to a new place and let time go by without really having made any local new friends. Where you live has a huge bearing on how much you enjoy your daily life, including parenting and family life. We think Portland is like the best place to raise a family.
It really is.
And these are just some of the things that we've discovered that we wanted to share.
If you guys have any other questions, feel free to reach out. If it's about just like living in Portland, or you're thinking about moving here and want to know a little bit more detail on the neighborhoods, we're happy to share our information with you. We're local real estate agents, so if you guys are thinking about moving here, go ahead and reach out. If you enjoyed this video and found value in it, stay tuned for the next one coming up right now.